Doug, for suggesting that we do all of these at 8 a.m. because I look like ass when I smile, which I like to do. Can you fix that? Post-production? Can you fix that shit? I don't think you can. Those bags.
No, there'll be some AI that will be able to fix that sort of thing.
Yeah, put one of those like generative AI filters over me. Make me look about 26, preferably.
Just create a whole new avatar for you. You had a video. Was it Kanye West?
No word of a lie. I had a meeting with a company called Zavatar, and their whole thing was about overlaying avatars in voice calls. And it came from the founder, I think his name's Jason. Lovely guy, lovely chap from the music industry. The reason he wanted to do it is because he felt anxiety on phone calls. That was where it originated from. And then it's kind of grown into this thing, and they're basically a patchwork quilt of Photoshop layers that move within different things. So I could press a button now and overlay this thing on my face.
What, and it would be like a better version of your face?
It's like a cartoon version.
Like you seen on Netflix, there was a film or a show. It was like a war one, and all the characters were like CGI, but really realistic looking CGI.
The most interesting thing on avatars, one, Bruce Willis says he hasn't, but he's definitely sold his rights for deepfake film. So he's going to be appearing in films even after suddenly he can't act anymore because of what's happened to him. But I guarantee you, the name, image, likeness of actors will live on beyond their acting careers now.
But I think the real money to be made is, as you said today, 8 o'clock in the morning, basically it's makeup, isn't it? It's essentially a whole new face.
I wonder whether I can get Lindsay to actually, instead of going to the gym, just tend to my time-ridden face. Just see if she can make me look a little less 42 and a little less weary.
Do you think that it is acceptable to do these podcasts in like a Nike Zippy that I've just been running in? Well, I mean, it's acceptable. I can do whatever I want, but like, what perception are we giving off?
I think the fact that you wear gym gear in our podcast is superb. I think it says, it's a little bit like that quote from Robbie Williams in Good Morning Vietnam. It's like, let's talk about the enemy. They're dressed in black. They're ready for fighting in the jungle, but they slip on some pearls and they're ready for formal wear. It's like you're ready for a run. You're ready to go knock some balls around the golf course, and you're ready to talk some shit with me. Perfect. Whereas I'm going to go and get in my Ford F-150 and go and chop some wood. That's what I'm going to do with my look that I've got going on today.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of that shirt. I think I'm so far away from what would be considered acceptable, fashionable, a good thing to wear that I'm so far. It would be like me commenting on something in a Chinese. I just have no idea. So,
but I would hope as we do these and we start to hopefully garner a following, we can have people comment on what Doug should be wearing next. So no more Nike. What is it going to be next? It's going to be, and I want to see. I'd love to see like a George Michael concert T-shirt from 1989 or 1990, but you've got to go and find it, and that. Even if it costs you like 500 quid on eBay, you've got to rock up with that thing.
Well, I mean, at the moment, very much loyal to Nike and loyal to Callaway on the golf hoodie. I've got the same Callaway golf hoodie. I've just got 3 of them. I just wear the not because I think that's cool and that Mark Zuckerberg does that, just because I just like them and I spill stuff on them, so they need to get I want to have a spare. Right,
you ready for this? I had a dream about Mark Zuckerberg last night. No joke. And do you know what we did? We were walking on the Las Vegas Strip, and I was like, "That's Mark Zuckerberg. I'm going to go and say hello." So I said hello, and then we walked down the strip, and we talked about his floaty wakeboarding machine. We talked about golf, and then he told me continually about his dog. And then I woke up.
I think he's going to be more pleased when we start riffing on ideas, and we're doing some breakdowns, and we're looking at some more business-specific things, which brings us on
Here we
to
go.
the content today. I've actually just got one idea that I just want to run past you.
Go for it.
What have you got? Or are we just going to go for my idea?
So I just want to bring attention to a person, actually. A founder, a very successful founder with a wonderful story that I think people should go and check out.
I want to start with that.
All right. Four Seasons Hotels. You've heard of them?
Yeah. Is that a chain?
Yeah, you could call it a chain. I mean, it's not like...
Is it a Hilton? It's a Hilton-style chain, isn't it?
Again, yeah, if you said it was a Hilton-style chain to them, I think they'd probably want to... the attack dogs would be around your house, destroying your...
Is it a more high... It's more like high-end than a Hilton?
Yeah, it's super high-end. I mean, it's probably the highest-end group of hotels. I think there are probably challengers and everything, but... They recently, and I think recently, like 2016, 2017, took a bunch of money from Cascade Private Equity. And that is, a lot of that is Bill Gates' capital. So it drew quite a lot of attention. Since then, they've expanded and they've kind of evolved as a business. But I knew of them because there's one in Tower Hill that one of my friends has got like access to the club, and he goes and has meetings there and stuff. It's all very grand. But the founder has got a book, and he's called Isadora Sharp, and he's a Canadian guy, and he built this business starting in his 30s, so started a little bit later, and he built Four Seasons into 60, 70 different destinations within 25 years of starting. Now, when you're talking about hotels, that's pretty hardcore. But you know how he started? He started with a bloody motel. Four Seasons started as a motel on the side of a road, and then he did all right out of that. And then
where was the first one?
It was in Canada. Yeah, it was all born out of Canada, and then it began to go globally. But this book basically is the way that he approaches business. It's a little bit like Amazon. Have you ever seen Amazon's thing about customers always first and customers and all the rest of it focus? It's a little bit like that, but it's just relentless obsession with creating experience and understanding your customer. And even now, when I find his story fascinating. So naturally, I've been in Wikipedia holes and all sorts of stuff. But they have just got such a consistent approach to making customer service or customer experience the best it can be. And he's got this book out. Well, he's had this book out. This book was out a while back. And I've got it. I'm listening to it on Amazon, Audible, and it's that walk to work kind of stuff where he talks about how he started this, how he funded it, and then how he managed to do this, how he managed to do that. But always through it was like, how can we create this greatest experience? And it's just evolved into this beautiful business. And then it was kind of capped off with this investment in like 2016, and he's just revered inside of the hotel industry, but nobody knows who he is. I don't know who he is, and I think he's potentially one of the best founder stories that there's out there. It's not like McDonald's, and it's not like, Zuckerberg, my dreamboat, literally, and, Bezos and all those guys. But this guy built such a beautiful business, and I just think I think everybody should go and read his book.
What's the book called?
Now you're testing me. Let me have a look.
I love a good business Audible story.
Yeah. It's just called Four Seasons. Yeah. It says Four Seasons, the story of a business philosophy. And that's
the whole thing is attention to detail, experience.
Yeah, and the way that it was consistent, the way that he trains people. So one of the most magnificent things in there, I don't think that the hotel industry has the best, or the leisure industry has the best reputation for treating its staff well. They have a policy where they treat everyone from you are the person who takes the luggage to the room all the way to their VPs. Everybody is treated with a tremendous amount of respect. Everybody has the ability to go and comment on the business about how they can improve, and they're empowered. It's a philosophy. I didn't see that. I didn't because I'm audibling it. I didn't get that philosophy bit, but I'd recommend it. Awesome. And I don't think it's never spoken about. I only found about it because Lindsay told me about it. Canadian business, Canadian girl.
Yeah, I've never heard of him. I didn't even know much about Four Seasons. Like, in my mind, they were kind of a high-end hotel chain, but I wouldn't have any idea how many there were.
We can do that link below stuff that people on YouTube do, don't we? Link below. Link to his book below.
Maybe we should book below. We'll put an Amazon Associates in there. We might make like $5.
Yeah,
$5 on a commission.
Stick it in there for some production value.
Okay, I've got an idea for you. It's not fully formed, but I think there's definitely something in it. So, you know Marcelo Bielsa when he was at Leeds, which is a Premier League football team in the UK. I know you know, but for the viewers. And they were really successful under him. And one of the things that he did, have you ever heard of Murderball?
I have. I've no idea what it is. I swear I read like an Athletic article where this was mentioned.
Yeah, so what he did with Murderball was that he would play a training session that was like a match, and I think they do it on like a smaller pitch, but they play it at like 100% pace, so like faster than a game. So like the ball would go out, and then they'd kick another ball in straight away. So it was more intense than like a match at the weekend, with the idea of just conditioning the players to just playing at an incredibly high tempo.
Okay.
The link is tenuous, but I think there's something
What
there.
way we were going? I was like, okay, business podcast, yeah, sod it. Let's just go and talk sport.
Yeah, we talk about Leeds United. In sales, I think the most effective thing, and I'm not like a career salesperson, but I have done sales, I've worked with salespeople, I've tried to train salespeople. And I think one of the hardest things is the sales call and being able to structure it, but also be flexible. So when you're trying to sell to the prospect, every single sales call will be slightly different, and you've got to have experience to do that. You've got to understand the person that you're selling to. Like, you know this because you do a lot of sales for your agency. You've done it for a long period of time, so and you're very good at it. But it's very much about understanding the person you're talking to. Junior and less experienced salespeople, in my experience, really, really struggle with that. They kind of can understand the product generally. They can understand the process of the sales call and kind of lead someone through that. Generally, a fairly competent person can get there. But I think where the learning curve really slows down is that they every single call is slightly different, and they generally can't flex for that call. Mm-hmm. If something happens one time and they can kind of learn that thing, and then next time that happens, but like there's 10,000 things that could happen. So I think the best salespeople are people that can kind of be flexible with their approach depending on who they're talking to. Fine. So the idea is, if you've got salespeople that you need to ramp up quickly and get them working, they're doing a lot of demos. Mm. How do you do that? So how does a company do that now? Well, the sales manager sits them down. They maybe run a few like simulations. They maybe show them some videos of other salespeople that have done it well. They maybe, they'll talk to the product team to understand the product. All of those things are good. But what does that salesperson really, really need? They need like reps. They need to just do 100, 200 sales calls. If they haven't done it before, just generally to do it, and specifically in the context of that product. So how do you do that? Well, you just burn 200 leads on them. Probably not the best idea unless you've got a ton. Hmm. So I've got this idea of like creating a service where you create a Murderball style environment for sales teams. So they essentially have a load of sales calls that are simulated. So you have actors on the other end that pretend to be prospects. And so your salesperson, you give them literally like a week that looks like a real week of sales calls. You've got like 5 demos a day and you've got to sell to those people. But all of those demos and all of those people are actors. So they get the reps in without burning your leads. And then they also get like they'll get feedback. So you could create a scenario where you can actually give them feedback. So you can say, as a service provider, you can say, look, your salesperson did 25 calls in this sort of Murderball week that we did for them. They did this well, they did this not well. These are the things that we'd advise for them to do better to close the deal. And then, you just pay to get your salesperson through that. And you probably do an initial block, and then you maybe kind of taper it a little bit over time, and you probably don't need it eventually. But I think for sales organizations that are getting a lot of salespeople through, this could be something that, you're doing long term with a client. I don't quite know how you deliver it, but I think actors that are trained to do this and act like prospects, and if you've got a process as well, I think you could do it. Also, I think you could charge an absolute ton for this, because companies spend a load hiring salespeople, they spend a load training them. There's a huge churn. If they get it right, then they make tons and tons of cash for the business. So there's generally budget there for this.
All right.
Murderball for sales teams.
So I have a lot of ideas on this.
Hit me.
You just said there's loads of churn. Why are you going to invest loads of money in someone that may not be there for a long period of time?
Is this a question challenge back?
It's a challenge, but there's a few challenges. I've got like 4.
Yeah. Well, I think what you're hoping is that you're reducing the churn.
But sales isn't just about ability. Sales is about, is this for me? If you are, let's take G2, our beautiful recruitment company that we know and love in Nottingham. I don't know what their churn is like, but if those guys don't like the environment, or it's not for them, they're going to move. I think my challenge is if you're going to go and invest, let's say $1,000 ahead, right? You're doing $1,000 ahead, and that person goes through that week, could be more than that, and then that person leaves within 3 months. The churn is the problem. It's okay to invest in people if those people are with you for a period of time. Maybe you see that $1,000 ahead is okay to go and get 2 sales, and if they get those 2 sales, then that is paid for. So therefore, the net, it's I guess net equal. Next challenge.
Yep.
If you're interested in getting into training or sales, if you're interested in getting into sales and you want to be a great salesperson, bear in mind sales can be incredibly lucrative if you're good at it. Most of the time you get a bit of a shitty base, and then you get a really impressive commission. Like in America, I've spoken to people that are selling software that their base is like 30 grand, but they'll do 200 grand in commission. Do you think there could be an angle where you are actually training salespeople that want to go into sales and get them to pay for it, or take a slice of their commission for a period of time? I know there is a risk there, because if they give up, then you don't get your money back. But could it be put on to? It's kind of
interesting, because I can't remember the name of the business. It's really high profile, but it's the same thing for developers, isn't it? Where they do all of the training for free, but then they take a chunk of their salary or their first year's salary or something when they get a job. So this potentially could work in sales. I think it's a slightly different model, but I do like the idea of, you get salespeople, you train them, you put them through this kind of 10-week hardcore, take them out into the Brecon Beacons military style, Murderballs, Sims, just literally turn them into sales animals, which I think
I'm not sure if we're helping society with that. We're just unleashing these highly trained, capable people to hopefully sell products that people want.
Sell HR software. Yeah, I mean, we're not pretending that we're helping anyone here, but I you know what? That's such a nice idea. If you have the cash flow to run a cohort, and then you go to companies, you just say, look, we just put these guys.
Well, then you become an agent for them, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like the agent model. We put these guys through this 10-week hardcore, legit sales school. These are going to be the best SaaS salespeople probably in Europe in the next 10 years. We've recruited them. We found good ones. We've only got 20. Then you get them the job, and then we just, you take a percentage of their first year salary. So they, or They're commissioned for whatever the financial model is.
Whatever
I'm
you
not
get
sure how the
remunerated,
economics work.
Mm.
But you could churn a lot of people through that. You know, you could have a cohort running every quarter.
Mm.
It's actually quite a nice idea, that.
Well, salespeople, comment below if you've seen it.
Yeah, we know fuck all about sales. We're literally probably the shittest idea.
We aren't the people to do it, but there might be someone out there. We, Ben and I actually went through a sales training with a company called SBR Consulting, and it was superb. Like really, really fantastic process. It was about 3 days, and we learned so much that people were putting out into practice, and people who weren't necessarily natural. See, I feel very natural talking to people, probably from my teaching background, but people aren't as comfortable to do that. It gave them program, script, approach, how to follow up, how to manage the lead, how to take people through, all the way through to like things like taking the bullets out of the gun. It's a bit cheesy, but it's true. It's like, how do you objection handle before you go and actually go into that conversation? And I think a lot of the reason where people who are not necessarily trained, objection handling completely kills the relationship, or completely kills the call, because you can't push back in the correct way, or you can't go and take that thought out before someone gets there. So yeah, I think it's great. My last idea on this, surely soon you can train an AI to speak to an avatar and get a person to interact with that avatar, so no need for actors.
I presume with this AI, so you're saying the sim, the pretend lead is like an avatar.
The pretend lead is an AI that is represented visually as an avatar with deepfake.
I would imagine that would be that probably is already doable for like the written element of the sales process. So like, you know, maybe for like lower touch things that you're selling. So, you know, like a lot of people sell, you know, you want to renew your phone line or your satellite TV or whatever, and you're literally on chat with like someone, and then they're trying to convince you not to cancel or to like get an extra product.
Get a free iPad. Just pay us £30 more a month.
Yeah, exactly. And that is a person, but I'm sure there are companies looking at, cool, let's turn that into an AI. And at the very least, like if you're the rep selling the iPad, ripping people off on the iPad, put them through some AI training where you've got like customers asking different questions. That's probably, I would imagine, doable today.
Yeah, I think the difference with the AI stuff that avatars don't have, there's a humans can be random, and AI is trained off the internet. It's trained off data. So what you're going to get when, let's say, Colin phones Steve, the actor, you know, and this is the human actor kind of approach, that, you know, Steve can say, yeah, but that's fantastic, but, you know, I don't like X, Y, and Z, and it's an original thought. AI isn't very good at original thought at the moment. Yeah. But if you could find, like, this is a fairly standard way to go and sell electricity, or get people signed up to an internet, you know, provider, I reckon you could probably train a model on a set of questions right now, which you could then put these salespeople through it. I mean, if anybody thinks that's a great idea and wants to raise a little bit of capital, we'll do it for them, Doug, won't we? We'll build that out with past experience in doing startups. But it might work. It might work. AI, avatar, sales training. And then,
I think almost I would be really surprised if there are not companies looking at that, because the size of the market of like stuff you sell via chat is huge now. As it's getting bigger, people want to just do it on chat. So renewing your mobile phone, your insurance.
Yeah. But when was the last time you used the Vodafone or so-and-so's chat function? I mean, it's hilariously bad, but they must be looking at pulling in ChatGPT or Bard or something like that.
They must be looking at it, yeah. Like I use the bank ones as well. Like I just opened like an ISA at a bank, and that was a person. Yeah, I think you can tell the difference between a good person and a bad person. So I'd imagine like AI to actually deliver that. Yeah, you're right. It's probably not far off, but I certainly think as a sort of training aid, it could work.
Yeah. Oh, look at that bit of a sales hole we went down there, Doug.
Yeah, I love the sales stuff. I think I'd be interested to hear more about this SDR training and
SBR, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we tagged them when we released this. We tagged the guys that run that. We might get a few views.
It was really, really great. It was about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and the program was really good. It was really good, and I know that the business. So it was Ben's other business, QR. They went through it, and I know that the people that weren't salespeople who didn't feel comfortable doing sales flourished after doing it.
Sounds good to me. Okay, I can feel sniff an affiliate commission there. We'll make an affiliate commission for that, and we'll make $3 off of that.
Well, with the Sharp's book, if anyone wants to go and build an AR avatar and they come to us to help them build it, look, we're winning already.
Yeah, you build that AR avatar. We'll write a landing. We'll do the simple stuff. We'll write a landing page.
Well, you can help us train the model. Yeah,
exactly. Cool. That's a wrap.
Superb. Enjoyable as ever.
There we go.